Hashtag hello and welcome. My name is the Alpha Female, and you're listening to Turnbuckle Talk.
Whoa! G'day, mateys. Bushwhacker Luke here, 2015 Hall of Famer, and you're listening to Turnbuckle Talk. Yeah! Whoa!
This is pro wrestling's only modern-day Viking Gunner, and you're on Turnbuckle Talk.
Hey, this is Nick Magnus-Tolis, and you're listening to Turnbuckle Talk.
Hi, this is Leva Blue Pants Bates, and you are listening to Turnbuckle Talk.
Hey, this is Jeff Jarrett, the king of the mountain and founder of Global Force Wrestling, and you're listening to Turnbuckle Talk. Hey, fellas, you guys have a great day, and this is only because I'm talking to Canadians. It is actually spitting snow in Tennessee.
See? Oh my God!
That's a great. We've had 70-degree weather here. We've really had a warm December, and I get on the phone with damn Canadians and we're spitting snow. So.
My name is Karl Karufel, and this is Turnbuckle Talk, episode number 313 coming at you this week. And as you see in the graphic right here, it says the Cena effect with Corporate Joe. That is right, everyone. We have got a Corporate Joe here with us for this episode. I couldn't be more excited and more happy to have you back on the freaking program, my brother, founder, innovator, the man who brought me into this. Dude, how have you been? Let everyone know.
It has been a hot minute since I've been on. I honestly don't remember the last time. I think it may have been at work. And I think we were talking about Jay Way at the time with yourself and OMD. I think that may have been the last time. So, it's like I said, when I did step away, it wasn't going to be a permanent. You will still occasionally see me with here and with my Dr. Pepper, which I'm cracking open.
I've already had my Dr. Pepper cracked open, as always. Dr. Pepper.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
We need a sponsorship, I think.
Yeah, at this point, I think so.
Yeah. Corporate Joe is going to be here with us for the entirety of this episode this week, not just a quick run in, which is absolutely amazing. As you can see, he is in his studio, not at work this time.
Work phone's off, man. I'm incommunicado. So
right?
if they run into any problems, no dealing with issues, no doing interviews, no nothing. So we're good.
That's awesome. That's a rarity these days.
It really, really, really is.
We've got a jam-packed episode again this week, and again talking about some things that maybe the mainstream are not really talking about. A few of these things, yes, they are, when it comes to the Garcia twins, when it comes to maybe some Hall of Fame stuff. Yeah, major outlets are talking about this, but we got some stuff here that really not a lot of people are talking about. I want to get into one of those things that people are talking about first, though, and the majority of this week was designed by you. You took the reins and had some things that you wanted to discuss, and one of those things was the Garcia twins. So let me know kind of what you're thinking here with the Garcias.
Well, I had to kind of do like a double take and look to make sure that I was talking about, because they changed their name. Howdy, Ed. Good to see you, sir. Non-corporate today, absolutely.
Ed, check Slack. Yes.
But yeah, like I had to check. I'm like, oh, the Garcia twins. Oh, this is the Bella twins. Rearing their ugly head again, so to speak. It's the type of thing, or I mean, clearly, we've shifted from wrestling, and I mean, I use their involvement in wrestling. I'm using that term. I'll get to that in a minute. But we shifted from them just to being internet, TV, movie, whatever personalities, just popular culture thing. I mean, I've always been pretty vocal that their time in wrestling was very hit and miss for me. Definitely some moments. If I, comparing in ring talent, Brie Bella far superior in my opinion. I think should have been maybe pushed a little bit higher than Nikki. And some training with Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson for those currently watching AEW. Right. I think she definitely got some better experience in that ring than her sister. It's the type of thing where it's just like, now they're saying that they're leaving WWE. I thought they were already gone, first of all. right? So I didn't realize that there was any involvement with them in the company. I guess maybe Total Divas was still a thing, or Total Bellas, or I'm a little out of the loop when it comes to that product because I've never watched it. So
Right.
it's the type of thing where I can respect some of the stuff with the company, and they did bring some mainstream appeal to the product a little bit,
Right.
but other than that, it really is going to be one of those things where I don't care that much. As bad as that kind of sounds, I was never a fan. Be somebody who really focuses on good in-ring talent. I just thought that there's really not even Brie guilty of injuring some people
Right.
accidentally in the ring, which I mean is never a good thing.
No.
When it comes to calling yourself a professional wrestler, a lot of good professional wrestlers, the really, really, really good ones really pride themselves on not really injuring their opponents, because peeling back the curtain, you can't make money if the person you're working with is hurt. Bottom line.
Very true. Now the Garcias, I know that they were almost. It wasn't like a Legends contract, but it was a contract very similar to that they were on. After their leave from the WWE in a wrestler capacity, they were almost kind of like ambassadors, so to speak, right, for the women's side especially. But all of that has finished. It's finalized. It's done. They've removed any inclination of the WWE from their socials, from what the fans see of them. I'm sure that they still have, all of their memorabilia, right? And I know that this isn't going to be a situation of them being angry with the WWE. They just figure it's time for them to move past the WWE and move away from Bella's to actually being the Garcia twins and being able to do their own thing with their makeup or clothing and whatever they've got, right?
I think it's very much shifting gears with them. Seemingly, they want to kind of distance themselves, from professional wrestling in general, and the WWE company really focusing on their own brand. So it's really going to be the type of thing where I think you possibly could alienate some of the artists that they have that still wants to see them wrestle. So, and then it's really going to be the focus on whatever that product is, if that appeals to you, then it's going to be your thing. And if you are still wanting to maybe see in the ring a little bit, it will possibly not be your thing. So it's one of those things. It is what it is. It frankly probably was a time for them to make a move there. So.
And to my understanding, it's not a full departure from professional wrestling. This is just a shift for them to build their brand. Right. And like I discussed, I believe it was last week when really all of this news came out with the Bellas, with the Garcia twins, that you and I even did the exact same thing, when we were working with Energy Rock Radio, and then we decided, it's time for us to kind of blossom and build our own brand, which ultimately we have. Right. And even that in itself has blossomed, right? Going from just being a Turnbuckle Talk to, then working with Love Wrestling for a while with Turnbuckle Rewind, and being able to keep all of that stuff and making Turnbuckle Studios. And so, like, I get it. I totally do, because we've done that to build brands. And just the same for them. They should have that option and luxury, I guess, to be able to do the same.
Sometimes you just have to evolve and change, if nothing else, just to avoid getting stale, right? Sometimes, or just feel a need to switch things up. I mean, people do these kind of things for various different reasons.
And now, I don't think that this is going to be the last that we see of them in a professional wrestling ring.
Royal Rumbles and stuff like that, they'll probably still appear occasionally, and
And a lot of people have even been kind of throwing out there as well that, like, Brie's husband is working for a company right now.
Yep.
Right? There is the possibility that we could see the Garcias making their way to that company and maybe doing a little bit over there, maybe not necessarily, like having a full-time in-ring type of contract, but even going there to maybe work backstage or something like that, right? So like I don't think that this is the end of their professional wrestling business.
Yeah, I would definitely be more inclined to say in a different kind of personality type or like interviews and stuff like that. Because I mean, God, I mean that contract that company over there, their roster is just ridiculously huge at this point. Which I think we'll kind of touch on that in a later topic here. But it's the type of thing where I think maybe as a personality might be a better approach. They don't need more wrestlers. I'll just say it.
Well, I mean, we're already talking about it, so let's get right into that then. Let's talk about this elephant in the room, and let's talk about All Elite Wrestling. This was another one of your topics here. You're asking the question: is AEW good right now?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that?
What I'm kind of getting at in a bit of a lateral way is, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this after being away for a while and being so critical of the WWE. But I mean, the WWE is leaps and bounds, especially when it comes to engaging people, and especially do with this Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes thing. I mean, they're knocking it out of the park and giving people a reason to watch every week, and then just going and watching segments of recaps, everything went out of AEW shows and watching one in full. It just feels like a disjointed mess over there. You have so many talents that you're trying to cram into a relatively short amount of TV time. It feels very rushed and not a cohesive product. And then you switch over to the WWE side of things, and they're telling long-term storytelling here and doing it very, very well. And again, I can't believe I'm saying that because again, I've been so critical. But yeah, like it feels like they're drifting away from what they wanted to be as a company, and now it's like they've become what they were railing against as a company that was over bloated and wrestlers didn't want to be there. Now AEW starting to have those issues. There's some top, there's some major talent there that don't really want to be there anymore. They're looking at moving, right? Cody was a big one, man. That's either he couldn't get over or just wanted to leave, or he wanted to make his mark on a larger stage. One of the guys that helped found the company has left. I felt that was a big deal. I know this is well after the fact now, but I mean, damn, like one of your founders has left for greener pastures,
right?
And and I think there's been a trickle down effect since then.
So, I mean, I'm going to throw this a little bit into like a devil's advocate type of situation here, right? They are still in an infancy. They are still in a situation where they're trying to figure out who they are, what they are, and what is going on. Right? So, I mean, they're taking little aspects of what they see from Impact, what they see from the WWE, what they're seeing. Okay, so AEW, for me, at least, has been doing some really great things when it comes to dark and dark elevation on Mondays and Tuesdays, broadcasting that to YouTube. Yes, it's pre-taped, but they're doing that over to YouTube, right? And allowing that for free for people to catch the product, and including and using local talent from the areas that they're in, which is something that we really don't see the WWE doing, but AEW is still growing. And I think that, Tony Khan can go to Daddy and be like, Daddy, can I have some money? And Daddy's going to be like, oh, for what this time? And he's going to be like, well, I got this really great guy over here that I think I can get signed. Can I have some money? Right? And so he's going to do it because he wants those names to try to build AEW to be huge.
Yeah.
Which at this point, you're right. Like it's not there. And it's almost like they're wasting money on the wrong things.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like especially delving into the depravity that is social media, especially Facebook, when it comes to this stuff. You know, you have some people calling themselves wrestling fans or pundits or whatever,
Right.
saying that, Tony Khan's the next Herb Abrams. But clearly, that is not the case here. I mean,
No.
I can guarantee you, Tony does not bathe in mountains of cocaine,
Right.
as Mr. Herb Abrams would have, and hookers and blow and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, and at the same time too, I mean, there are kind of some similarities. I mean, snatching up a lot of the talent, disenfranchised or jaded from WWE. I
Yeah.
mean, a good portion of the higher up roster, a lot of those guys would, fit that mold. It's the type of thing where, again, I can't believe I'm saying it. WWE is just doing it better. In AEW, I would have thought by now that that they would have found, their direction and their voice. But so
Right.
it still feels like we're in the experimentation stage. And I get it, in the scope of things, and time frame of professional wrestling is still relatively short. But I do hope that maybe they can get to that point where I've talked about professional wrestling, where it's like we're stuck between this sports entertainment and being a sport thing,
Right.
and it's keeping us from that. It's keeping us at that below the 2 to 3 million viewer plateau. When you have like NHL and NBA getting tens of millions of viewers every week, what can we do with professional wrestling to get it to that point again, or
Right.
arguably better than it's ever been? I think we need to. I've said this before. We need to either be entertainment, just straight up entertainment, or present it like Japan, where they're presenting it as a legitimate sport. Pick one, because this in between thing, I think, is still off-putting to a lot of people, especially new to the product. They're seeing this and not really getting it.
Right.
Pick a direction. Either hire a bunch of actors and teach them how to wrestle and just be entertainment, or present it as wrestling, just wrestling.
So now, to kind of go back a little bit on what you were saying there, you were talking about how like AEW just kind of doesn't seem to kind of know where they are, and maybe like I think that maybe a part of that is because the transition, the shift of power that came in. So when Vince had things and when Vince was running things, it was easy for Tony to play on those old man emotions and be like, we're going to steal your guys. And he's going to be like, oh shit. And, Tony's going to, play off of that.
Yeah.
Right. But now we've got Triple H in there, and things have changed with the company. So now AEW is having to once again change, because what they were doing with Vince is not going to work with Triple H.
We've shifted from AEW taking shots at WWE to now WWE's taking shots at AEW very subtly, right?
Yes.
A recent promo with Roman and Cody, one of the things that did see, where it just said, so you couldn't hack it here, didn't want to do the gold dust stuff, so you went over to another company, couldn't get over there, so you ran away from there and came back, right? So
that was last
without
night.
saying the words, very, very clever. But I mean, anybody with half a brain knows what he was referring to. But at the same time too, I mean, what they accomplished at the original All In and starting, another big company, I don't think you can ever take that away from them.
No.
And I do wish them nothing but the best. I hope that they can find their real voice soon, and really establish their identity. Right. And like I said, instead of being that in between, I think one thing that they can really differentiate themselves from WWE is pick entertainment or just be wrestling. But time will tell on that kind of stuff. I know that that's crazy talk to most people and wishful thinking, but that's what I'm all about.
Since we're already talking about AEW, you had something interesting that you showed me from one Nick Patrick. So first, I want you to tell us all who Nick Patrick is and who does he think is running AEW.
So Nick Patrick was, now before this, I'm not entirely sure of his history in the business, but I mean, probably most famously known for being one of the, in my opinion, at the time, one of the better referees in WCW. Did side, I believe, with the NWO being kind of their go-to referee for some added shenanigans and some entertainment value. I thought that stuff was really, really good.
Right.
I think even for a short period of time when the invasion angle or anything happened, I believe that he spent some time working for the company there as well.
Yeah.
I thought he was a really kind of one of those referees that's good at enhancing kind of what's going on with a little bit of character work, but not going full Bryce Remsburg and trying to go in business for yourself and steal the show. Right. So, but I digress on that. So basically, the short and sweet of it, so to speak, is that Nick Patrick. I had to read this twice just to make sure that I hadn't gone crazy or gone off the edge of the flat Earth. He says that Vince McMahon is secretly running AEW. Now, right off the hop, I just will say it point blank. This is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my entire life when it comes to professional wrestling. Good to see you, Mr. Bubba Duke. Don, good to see you, brother. But yeah, like just really just some of the dumbest shit that I've seen in quite a long time. I love Nick Patrick, but dude, whatever you're smoking, share it with the rest of the class, please.
Is it what he's smoking, or is he off his meds?
I don't know. It's the type of thing like even somebody who I think is grossly, misunderstood in the wrestling business, Mr. Vince Russo, has even kind of hinted at this, that he thinks that that this has been going on. And there's been some other kind of craziness. Like I believe until his death, Scott Hall still thinks that the Montreal Screwjob was a work. So,
right.
Which I mean, we know was not. But yeah, it's the type of thing where, I mean, if it's true, I mean, it's probably one of the greatest ruses of all time, or one of the best like bait and switch, or like I can't even think of the terminology just because
right.
It's like scrambling my brain just thinking about it. But yeah, I don't know. What's your take on that? Well, I've been dying to know.
I want to find out from you first. How audacious is that claim that Vince McMahon is behind the scenes running AEW? Is it really?
For me, I really, really do think it is, because I mean, I'm trying to think if there's any precedents or anything like I've said before, other than maybe, basically coming and saying that he's bought WCW, which right. I mean, the seeds have been planted for that for a while.
True.
So that wasn't. I mean, it was shocking, but I mean, it wasn't. Like we necessarily didn't see it coming. But there's the idea, and just given that people have shifted from WWE largely because of Vince to this other company, for it to just have all been run by Vince all this time. For me, that's where the theory of that kind of falls apart. It's like, right. I don't think that these guys would have left a company that Vince was running to another company that Vince was running knowingly, right? Unless everybody's in on this shit, and it's like, one of the greatest conspiracies of all time in professional wrestling.
Right.
But yeah, I wouldn't go as far as what Don is saying here, that if he is running it again, I don't think I'd ever watch it again. But just like I said, I just think it's a bit of a ludicrous claim to kind of get a few seconds of fame. But I'm not necessarily reading too much into that. I just thought it was definitely shocking when I did read it, that opinion has come up again. Because like I said, I had last heard it from Mr. Vince Russo,
right.
who just knowingly likes to stir the pot, especially when he knows that his arch nemesis is lurking in the background, Mr. Jim Cornette. And
right.
We just know that those two guys like to take shots at each other. And that's all I thought that was. But I mean, Nick Patrick's not really got any of that kind of stuff going on with anybody, so you can't go that angle. I think it's just to stir up some conversation.
You know what? I fully agree with that. I think that it's absolutely ludicrous to believe that Vince McMahon is running AEW. I know that Tony Khan is a freaking super fan who has money.
Yep.
I'm a super fan of professional wrestling, and if I had Khan money, you're damn skippy hippie, I would be starting a company.
Yeah.
Would I ever want to sell that and get rid of it? Not for any amount of money in the freaking world. I wouldn't. As a super fan, I wouldn't. And Tony is like triple the super fan that I am.
Yeah.
With money.
Yeah.
So I don't really think that it's even feasible. I don't think that it's even an option. I really don't. I don't think that Vince McMahon is behind AEW at all.
I will say I do believe that everybody does have a price, not only in that scenario, but in any kind of like buyout scenario. I mean, to do a bit of maybe a strange comparison, switching to the technology business, I never would have thought that Oculus, the company that makes the VR units, would have been ever purchased by Facebook, right? And that's something that happened. So, I think anything is possible, and I think everybody does have a price. Now, will it happen? I hope not, because having competition does help the businesses as a whole, as it does any business. Healthy competition breeds a win for the customer or the consumer or the fans, however you want to call it.
Right. And on that note, the only reason why I say that I don't believe that Vince is behind any of it is like Tony purchased Ring of Honor as well, right? So we've got Tony doing AEW and Ring of Honor. Is it like, so is that going to now mean that Vince is behind Ring of Honor as well? Like, how far are we actually going to take this before it starts to sound ridiculous? And I think we're already at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think that WWE will still pay attention to Ring of Honor, and they always have. A lot of their current talent do have roots in that company. So I think that will still be a bit of a breeding and training ground for future WWE stars, because it always has been. Some of the best names that you know and love right now, and that fans know and love right now, have spent some time over in that company. Its list of alumni is amongst some of the best in any wrestling company.
Definitely it is. New Japan Vince is running New Japan, didn't you know?
Yeah. Let's not get completely stupid now. All right.
I gotta throw this banner up. Everybody take a look right down in the bottom there. There's a website for y'all to go to, realwrestling.net. News and views by real fans. We are in association with Real Wrestling, which makes us an international podcast because Real Wrestling is out of the United Kingdom. I'm very happy and thankful to have been included in the fold at Real Wrestling. Go and check them out, realwrestling.net. Great articles over there, other podcasts over there, really good things happening there. We are halfway through the episode, and we do need to make sure that we're talking about some of our sponsors and putting up a couple of our commercials. So please stick with us as we take a drink of our non-sponsored Dr. Pepper and let you indulge in a couple of commercials quickly. The official Turnbuckle Studio shop is open. Official merchandise from all the favorite shows, plus merchandise you can only find here. Stuff from Turnbuckle Studios. Karl Karufel unboxes. The Boar's Nest with Bubba Duke. Miscellaneous products that you can only find here. Beats and Beatdowns. And Turnbuckle Talk. Find all this merchandise exclusively at karlkarufel.redbubble.com.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Wrestling, a love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand, the wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
My name is Karl Karufel, and this is Turnbuckle Talk. Joined alongside my former broadcast colleague, my brother, Corporate Joe, as we go and talk about some professional wrestling like we usually do. First and foremost, though, want to let everybody know that, yes, karlkarufel.redbubble.com is where you can go for all Turnbuckle Studios merchandise, including the newly put in there Paramindful merchandise as well. When it comes to collarandelbowbrand.com, I'm always wearing my Collar and Elbow branded hat. From Joe's got the shirt on today. He's got the mirror tee on. My good friend Al Snow created that company. Go and check that out. Use the promo code JK Podcast to get 10% off your purchase. Rogue Energy is an amazing drink for you as well. If you're kind of feeling tired, you need a little pick-me-up, slam down a Rogue Energy and you will be feeling great with no crash afterwards, using less sugar than the major brands. Use the promo code OLEPODS, OLEPODS, and get 10% off your purchase. Continuing on here, I think we're done with the AEW talk for this episode. And we're going to transition into some WWE talk. With, yes, our Cena effect being our showstopper segment. Let's just call it that. First, though, we want to talk about the WWE Hall of Fame. So up until yesterday, we knew of two names. We knew of Rey Mysterio and the Great Muta, or Kenji Muto. They've really not said Kenji. They've only said the Great Muta as of yet.
Yeah.
So this could just be the character of the Great Muta that we're going to be seeing. But there was another name that was announced for the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame, and that was one Mr. Andy Kaufman, a man who transcended between Hollywood and professional wrestling. As a fan who decided it would be funny to claim that he was the real champion of the women's division, and where he would only take on women, and then went on to have a pretty good short feud with Jerry the King Lawler. So, Joe, I know that you have got, yes, Bubba, Al Snow for the WWE Hall of Fame. Yes.
Long overdue.
Oh, you've got some discussion that you want to have when it comes to this Hall of Fame announcement. So take it away.
I'm going to go through all three of them if I can. I mean, Rey Mysterio, obviously a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame, has done a tremendous amount for the WWE.
Right.
That's going to be a kind of reoccurring theme with what I'm going to talk about here with the WWE. Rey Mysterio has done many amazing things, as a smaller wrestler, has been able to reach the top tier of the company. Very, very difficult, especially given the time frame that he went through when historically a lot of big men were pushed to the top of the card.
Lesnar, Big Show.
Exactly, right? Your Randy Ortons, you're all that. He's beaten them all, right? Has had a Hall of Fame-worthy career and is still going in the ring.
Yeah.
The old school wrestling fan in me, would prefer to see guys retired for a little while, and then get inducted, to allow the dust to settle a little bit. The absence makes the heart grow fonder. We kind of lose track of him a little bit and then bring them back in, but they're deciding to do it while he's still active in the ring. I'm not necessarily a fan of that approach, but I get it. Now, with the other two picks, I am going to be a little critical of. I'll say right off the hop, I'm not being critical of the individuals. The Great Muta, one of the best wrestlers to come out of Japan ever, hands down. In the same conversation as Inoki, Jushin Thunder Liger, Minoru Suzuki, Okada, all those guys, definitely fits in that category. And then we have Mr. Andy Kaufman, one of the most polarizing individuals in anything. Whether it be real life, whether it be in movies, it be in TV, whether it be as a professional wrestler. Now, with Muta and Coffin, the thing is that this is the WWE Hall of Fame, and that's where I have a little bit of an issue. Muta never wrestled for the company. Yes, I know people have told me on social media, "Oh, Vince bought up WCW." Muta worked in WCW, so just by default, he kind of gets in there. I would rather, if we're going to go this route, just make a real, true professional wressling Hall of Fame. I know it kind of exists with the Cauliflower Alley Club. Things are falling beside me here. But it's really getting to the point now where we need to make an actual professional wrestling Hall of Fame that encompasses WWE, AEW, New Japan, Ring of Honor, all your independents, like the true legends of the business. We need to stop just inducting Joe Schmo because, we need to fill, this event for the thing every year, and not to take away from people that have gone and that really, really deserve it. But I've always, and this, I've always been in the school of thought, I still have the movie here somewhere. Andre the Giant still, in my opinion, is the only really true legend in that WWE Hall of Fame. I mean, you want to talk guys that just legendary across the board when it comes to wrestling, when it comes to personality, when it comes to outside the business, larger than life. That is a true legend.
Right.
And then, we go and put in somebody like, say, like a, it's tough to make a comparison. I don't want to put anybody down. But when it comes to the WWE Hall of Fame, I think that we are just going through everybody because we need to. I think we really need to distill it down to more to the people who are just like truly legends that transcend. And when I think the recent names, the only three that really come to mind right off the top of my head: Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and Shawn Michaels. Outside of that, when it comes to recent guys, I'll throw Cena and I'll throw Randy Orton into that mix as well. But other than those guys, when I'm thinking true legends of the WWE, a lot of other names don't come to mind. We can't just fill this Hall of Fame with people because we need to.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, with Andy Kaufman, he's the one that I really want to focus on because, dude, I love what he did there. It was in Memphis wrestling. It was not in the WWE. And I get Jerry Lawler was involved and Bill Apter and all those guys. And, I know Andy actually approached Vince Sr. would do some stuff, and Vince said, sorry. Triple H would definitely fit in that category eventually. The thing with Triple H, though, I'm glad that Bubba Duke brought that up, is Triple H was never really that top-tier guy. He was probably one of the best foils, one of the best number 2 guys of all time. That's what Triple H is really, really good at. And, of course, molding in, bringing up some of this up-and-coming talent. Triple H was the best foil of all time. But yeah, just Andy Kaufman, it's great. Now, what I think what would win this over for me is if, number one, if Jerry Lawler does the acceptance or like accepts on his behalf, or how they ever choose to go about that. But I'm such a fan of the work that Jim Carrey did in the Man on the Moon movie.
Right.
If they were able to have him come in impersonating Andy Kaufman to come in, that would put it over to the top of me. I think that would be a great thing. But having said that, again, I don't know if it's WWE Hall of Fame worthy. Is it Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame worthy? Absolutely. It was one of the best wrestling angles of all time.
Right.
Dude knew how to hold onto kayfabe better than a lot of professional wrestlers do.
Oh,
that is to be commended.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen in the WWE, guys. That's my main sticking point. I know a lot of people shit on me for that opinion. It's my take on it. I'm not saying that I didn't love the man and what he did. That was amazing, but it didn't happen in the WWE. That's my only sticking point.
Right. And when it comes to Andy Kaufman, I think for this induction, I think it would be fantastic if we had Bill Apter induct, Jerry Lawler accept.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this, with a run-in happen where we see Andy Kaufman finally return and snatch that out of Jerry Lawler's hand and run away with it.
I don't believe that Jim Carrey has ever done anything with WWE wrestling in any respect,
No,
right?
not
Or
that I'm
in any
aware of.
capacity. It would be really cool to see that. And you're right, Bill Otter being involved as well. Absolutely. He's somebody who's been absent for the WWE scene, like, on screen in quite a while. One of the true legends that a lot of people like us being involved in this look up to. Our friend Ryan K. Bowman, kind of his protege. So speaking of this, we have some connections there. But
in the journalism world, Bill Apter is, he's like right under God. Like,
those who really worship Meltzer, Bill Apter makes him look like amateur hour. Sorry for all your fans of him out there, but it would be cool to see Bill and Jerry the King Lawler there. And if you could have Jim Carrey impersonating Andy Kaufman coming in, that would be really cool. I would pop for that.
Right. I think I would too.
And with the Muda thing, just backing up briefly,
sure.
They should have tried to get him into the Rumble to try and make some of that connection with the audience, because that could end up being a bit of a weird one, because when you want to talk WWE fans of that current product, when he comes out, I'll be very much listening for what that audience reaction will be. It very well could end up being very kind of split. I think a good portion of, especially the younger crowd, will be like, who is this guy?
Right.
Who? Right,
it's going to,
and not taking anything from Muda, man. Dude's like a bona fide legend in the wrestling business. But I felt it was a bit of a, maybe we're having a hard time filling spots for the Hall of Fame this year. Nothing, like I said, nothing against him and Andy, but yeah.
And I mean, it could very well be. And I know that Triple H is even looking at making things smaller when it comes to the WWE Hall of Fame. From what I've been seeing and reading from some of my good notable sources, is that there's only going to be 5 this year.
That's fine. There's going to have to be like 10 every year.
There's only going to be 5. And continuing forward, there's only going to be like 5 names that are put in there, with a possible 6th with the inclusion of referees.
Yeah, see, that would be cool. There's definitely some that are worthwhile being in that category. Absolutely. And I mean, I guess you could always induct Ric Flair in a few more times if you want to.
Right. I mean, sure,
you can find a way.
Somewhere. Evolution or, some way, somehow. Yeah. Ric Flair is kind of a polarizing figure for a lot of people.
We'll put him in let's put the old boy out of his misery category.
Right.
Mr. Every match is his last match. It's like he's like the Rolling Stones of professional wrestling, I swear to God. Ric Flair, used to love the guy, but like it's time to go away, sir. It's time to go away.
When I was on the Chris Jericho Rock and Wrestling Rager at Sea Part 2, Ric Flair was actually there. Ric Flair, to meet Ric Flair was an extra added cost, of course. I mean, I wouldn't have expected anything else. Yeah. I was unable to get myself an autograph from Ric Flair. Damn. I know that at another time when I was in in an airport where I think we were in Chicago, making our way to St. Louis. We were in the airport sitting there waiting at a layover, and we actually saw Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler go by, and I didn't get up in time.
Yeah.
But I would have been respectful going over to them if they had stopped. And that kind of leads us right in.
That was very well done, by the way.
Learn how to respect or deal with it. So essentially what we're talking about here is this whole saga of shit that's been going on at airports, at any place other than a WWE event. So we've had situations happen with Rey Mysterio. We've had situations happen with Liv Morgan. And most recently, we've heard of situations happening with Rhea Ripley, where fans are coming up to them, essentially being little shit disturbers, bothering them is essentially what's happening. So Rhea Ripley went on to Twitter, and this is what she wrote. She wrote, "People need to respect that no means no. At airports, do not follow me outside. Today has put me off completely. I will not sign anything that isn't a personal photo of us anymore. Hate me? I don't care. Disagree with me? Try putting yourself in our shoes for one bloody day.
Yeah.
That's what Rhea Ripley put onto Twitter because of interactions that she had with fans at an airport. Very similar to Rey Mysterio and Liv Morgan. I'm going to let you take this for a moment, Joe.
It's tricky with this because when you, before I get into that too, there used to be a guy that I had on Facebook. By the way, I have a completely different Facebook account. I got a new phone today and couldn't log into my old Facebook account. So people who know me, if you get a request from me looking like similar to what I look right now, it is me. Ask me a question, what kind of cats you have, and then confirm that it's me. But there used to be a guy that I know on there that literally would like ambush wrestlers and take their photos, and you can tell just like super awkward looks on the talents, right? I even called the guy. I don't know, one time I was like, dude, it's like do you realize that you're kind of encroaching on people's privacy or something like this? And like, oh no, they were totally cool with it. And you might just see like the wrestlers just like holding like this, right? With that deer in the headlights kind of look in their eye, right? At the same time, to play devil's advocate slightly here,
yeah,
there's a couple ways I'm going to approach this. When you become a celebrity, when you become somebody who's in the spotlight, like the one that's in front of me right now, you're going to get attention. You give up a certain level of privacy. It comes with the territory. Even being a somewhat former podcaster, I saw some of that behind the scenes when it comes to social media, messaging, and whatnot. When you put yourself in the spotlight to any degree, you're going to get a lot of unwanted attention.
Right.
Comes with the territory. But there is a line that should not be crossed. When somebody is out of character, when they're just going about their personal business, that is leave them alone. Having said that, now too, going even further into this is exactly why, Karl, and everybody watching here, that wrestlers in Mexico and Japan, there's still some that do this, and this is why when they get into the wrestling business, some go even as far as their name not even being on public record. When they become a wrestler, they become that character, and they do not exit being that until they exit the wrestling business. This is why they do it, to avoid these kind of scenarios, or they don't get ambushed in airports and stuff like that. Right. When they take their stuff off, nobody knows what they look like. In the music business, very famously, Daft Punk, same kind of thing. Those guys, whenever they are performing or doing a kind of public appearance, the helmets are on. In their private life, it's the only time they would take it off, and nobody would know there, so they could go about their private life without being constantly hounded. It's and that kind of sums it up. It's as a celebrity, you're going to get that unwanted attention, but fans definitely do need to realize that you need to back the F off and wait for those times where it's appropriate. And again, too, that's exactly why a lot of these wrestlers, like most commonly now, Pentagon is probably one of the best examples.
Right.
Nobody outside the inner workings of the business even knows what that guy's. Even some of them likely don't even know what his real name is, and that then buys you your private time when you do remove the character and just become whatever, that you can live your private life kind of uninterrupted. So for up and coming talents, it may be something you want to approach. Maybe we can see some North American wrestlers maybe seeing that as an example and be like, hey, you know what? If I get into this wrestling thing, maybe I'll don this character and stay in it so that I can live a private life without people clicking photos and doing that stuff all the time. Maybe something that we're thinking about.
Definitely might be. I'm going to touch a little bit on the side of you fans. Be respectful. Don't be so with the Rey Mysterio situation. What it was is there were several people that came up with a number of items expecting Rey Mysterio to autograph all of these items for them to sell and make profit off of Rey Mysterio. Liv Morgan was similar situations. And it appears as though with Rhea Ripley that, yes, that may have been a type of situation that happened as well. 9 times out of 10, the performers are going to be like, yeah, you know what? Come on in, come get a picture. Oh, you got something to autograph? Okay, I'll autograph, that for you. Don't go expecting them to autograph a shit ton of merch for you when they're not going to see any money from that, and you're making all the profit from that. If you're a reseller, okay, so there are different resellers out there like Dark Parlor. Okay, Dark Parlor Originals, one of the better ones that are out there. They bring them in, and then people pay for those Funko Pops or 8x10s or whatever it is, and this superstar mass autographs in one day, gets it all done. Go about it that way. Don't be so disrespectful as to go up to somebody and be a freaking paparazzi to these people when they're just trying to live their life, just like you're trying to live yours. It blows my mind.
And to kind of reflect that kind of inwards again, in my day job working in customer service, true story, right? So I'm literally taking a bathroom break, and this customer must have followed me. So I went to the bathroom, sitting down in the toilet. I'm taking a dump. I'm taking a shit. Knock on the door. Bang, 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 bang. Yeah, I'm interested in buying an Xbox. Cool. I'm currently taking a shit. Can just wait outside, and when I'm finished, I will come and help you.
Wow.
Learn your boundaries, people. When it comes to approaching wrestling town, when it comes to approaching people working in a customer service business, wait until the person is in that working mode before you come and hound them, right? Yeah.
Jeez. That's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I wish I was making that up, but sadly I'm not.
Oh, 100%. I know that you are not making it up at all. RogueEnergy.com.
Nice.
Speaking of respect, there's a man in the world of professional wrestling that a lot of people have respect for. Well, a lot of women and children have respect for. A lot of the guys love to hate this person. Yes, we are talking our showstopper segment, the Cena effect. Talking about John Cena, and this essentially was a corporate Joe topic that he wanted to bring up and discuss, and that's exactly what we are going to do today. Corporate Joe, what are you meaning by the Cena effect? I mean, I kind of made that word, right?
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about.
So no secret, I'm not watching a lot of professional wrestling these days. But one thing that I did catch was, I believe it was from a previous week Raw segment with Austin Theory and Mr. John Cena. So you have a guy who is almost strictly ring talent in Mr. Austin Theory. If you watch, I watched a fair amount of his stuff now. Great in-ring talent, but is really, in my humble opinion, missing that other half of being a professional wrestler and really having that that it factor to really make the crowd either love or hate you in that respect. That dude just, from the stuff that I've seen, just does not have it. And then you have Mr. John Cena, who not only has it, but has it in droves and spades. Regardless of whether you hate him or you love him, he always elicits a response.
Right.
Very enthusiastically so, either very positive or very, very negative. The dude is one of the best of all times in eliciting a reaction from the crowd. And this promo, this segment, was no different. I mean, John Cena literally took him to school and slapped him in the dick on the way out. Like masterfully done.
Yep.
Loved it. But now at the same time, we've run into the situation now where clearly they are trying to do something to push this kid to being upper echelon. But I don't know if maybe they let Cena go off script a little bit here, and it's entirely possibly so. But they've set themselves up now where I don't even know how he can come out of this looking good or bad.
Right.
Because I mean, like if he beats Cena, it's going to have to be some kind of underhanded way to do it, because he can't come over as the good guy now. Cena's clearly positioned himself as that, and Theory is clearly the bad guy now. So it's either gonna have to be that, or Cena's just gonna have to just flat out beat him 1, 2, 3 in the ring, or tap him out to a it's as cool as it was. It's turned into a bit of a weird scenario, because like I don't know what you do with this Theory kid now. I'm at a kind of a loss for words. John killed it, but I mean, slap him in the nuts on the way out, and like, dude, it's like you weren't ready for this, and I wasn't ready to watch it. I didn't expect that as the result. Right. But I mean, it's like I'm curious of what your take is, if you're kind of on the same wavelength as me on this, because I'm worried that this doesn't bode well for Theory in any respect or in any way whatsoever.
So the whole reason why I decided to call this episode the Cena effect is because this is something that I think that we have seen before. We've seen John Cena come in after being away for a while and be like, woo, we're going to do something big and special. And yeah. And then it just ends up being nothing afterwards. Yeah. And my case for that, and people are gonna shit all over me for this, but Cena Rock, once in a lifetime. Oh wait, let's shit all over that because it's John Cena, and it's twice in a lifetime.
Yeah,
you see kind of where I'm going with that. It seems as though that every time John Cena comes in to help elevate, he's not elevating, but making worse and pushing down instead. And building himself up, instead of actually building the competitor or the talent that he's supposed to be in the ring with. And that's 100% how it feels to me with this situation with Austin Theory right now, is that John Cena came in to elevate Austin Theory, and it's turned into an absolute shit show for Austin Theory, and he's just being kind of played out.
Yeah, because it's the type of thing where because John's so good in that position, and you look at everybody who's kind of at that Austin Theory level, and is there anybody that can go toe to toe with Cena, not only on the microphone but in the ring, but especially on the microphone? It's like I struggle to find anybody in the WWE company now. Maybe over in Japan or something like that, you might run to some of their people that can. I think definitely like a Okada. It could be somebody that can maybe match wits with them. But when it comes to these younger up and coming guys, it's just they don't stand a chance. They don't stand a chance. And as cool as it is to see Cena doing these things, it's not, to kind of use an extreme example. It's so different when we rewind way back to Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan, going into that match, not knowing what the outcome was, Andre calling the shots and him deciding to put Hogan over because he knew it was best for the business going forward.
Right.
Now we just have a guy coming in who is, I'm sure that the intention is to try and get whoever over, in this case, Mr. Austin Theory, but it just, I've been playing back, even since I've seen the segment, I'm trying every scenario in my mind, and I don't know of an outcome of where this guy can get over as a good guy or a bad guy unless seriously steps it up, out of nowhere. And then this is where having somebody like a William Regal or something a little bit more active doing this kind of stuff would be so helpful to especially guys like this, to just give them, because if you want to be a wrestler, you got to be more than just somebody going in there doing some suplexes and some body slams. You have to be able to draw your audience in, and a lot of times with the microphone or your mannerisms or just your look. And dude, kid's great in the ring, but is just missing that other half. So then historically what will typically happen then is then somebody has to come in to be that mouthpiece, whether it be like a Paul Heyman or whether it be whoever, right? It's like I fear that could be this kid's where he gets to is like they're just going to give up him as a character and have somebody else come in and talk for him. And I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe that could work in some way, but I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those things where you really get to see like where some of these kids, some of these guys are really, really good in the indie scene. But then when they did come up, you know, I guess maybe when they're scouting them, are just looking too much at the in-ring stuff and not looking, you know, is this guy going to be a good character on television? Is he going to draw in an audience? Is he going to draw people to come into WrestleMania? People are going to WrestleMania to watch John Cena. They're not going there to see Austin Theory. They're going there to see John Cena take this kid out.
Yep. It's very true. It's very true. And unfortunately, I mean, the whole John Cena coming into the situation, I think, has been very negative for Austin Theory. And I don't see how that even anything with John Cena could have even helped Austin Theory at this point, because John Cena is such a big name that it was going to be a detriment no matter what, which sucks. Because both guys are fantastic. They are. Austin Theory, yes, he's got a little ways to go still, but he's fantastic for you know where he's come from and to what he is now. John Cena is a true you know legend, as you kind of you know put out there earlier. It's a lose-lose, unfortunately.
What I could foresee maybe happening is you could run into like almost like a Drew McIntyre type of situation where you're like this chosen one by Vince, and it just ends up shitting the bed, and then you know they have to go elsewhere and get some street cred, as our friend Mr. Michael Jorker used to refer to it as. You know, sometimes you shit the bed the first time, you got to go elsewhere to kind of build up that reputation. Then you could come back, and people are like, oh, he's back, you know, because he's built up some notoriety. Whereas right now, if they're just pushing them and you're just spinning your wheels, nobody gives a crap, right? You got to build up that reputation. You got to make the audience care about you or deeply hate you. If you're just going to be this in between, Cena said himself, we don't care about you.
Exactly.
Right.
When we talk about building reputations, a good place that has a fantastic reputation is Invasion Comics in Richmond Hill, Ontario. Check out the website right there, invasioncnc.ca. invasioncnc.ca. If you're looking for comics, looking for cards, looking for Funko Pops, looking for collectibles, you want to check out my good friends over at invasioncnc.ca. While you're over there or even in store in Richmond Hill, let them know that Turnbuckle Talk sent you over there. You can go and order whatever you want from that website and have it shipped to you. But again, let them know that we sent you over there, and maybe there might be a little special something there for you. Joe, you have anything else to add to this episode before we take off?
No, man, I just appreciate being back on. I don't get to come on here anywhere near as much as I'd like to. But the fact is, these days, I just don't get to. You know, things are very, very busy. I work in a business where there's a lot of turnover with people who get hired. Even just today, you know, we did lose somebody else there. You know, it's just kind of the way it is, but I'm always able to come on the occasional show, especially when things get kind of interesting, and I appreciate that, Don. I do enjoy being here whenever I do get the chance to. So even if it's just during 15 minutes during a break, I try to come on whenever I absolutely can, whenever the situation calls for it, and when people want to hear my opinions on stuff, and it's the type of thing where I just I wish I could be around more guys, but unfortunately, it's just the way it is. And it's not because I don't want to. It's real life gets in the way just too damn often.
And that's what happens when you go corporate.
Unfortunately, yes.
Take a look down below. You can see my links right there for Linktree. Bye, Felicia. you're looking Linktree, linktr.ee/Karl Karufel. That's where you're going to find the links for all of my socials, all of the areas that you can follow Turnbuckle Talk and Turnbuckle Studios for everything having to do with myself. And then I've been showing it to you all night as well. Down below is the ticker there. Pause it wherever you have to. Go back and rewatch this and find it. There is everything for our local establishment. Make sure that you're going over to our YouTube, subscribe over there, hit that notification bell as well, because there's stuff that drops over there that doesn't necessarily come to other places. So you're going to want to stay tuned to the YouTube channel as well. Thank you to everybody who came in and came by today and spent a little bit of their evening with us here at Turnbuckle Talk as the originators return once again. With that being said, we want to take our leave. Yeah, Bubba coming in. We had to get that in there before we finished out. Thank you guys. Love you both. He says, thank you so very much.
Yes.
Remember, everyone, the world's a scary place. Take care of each other.